Good morning, everyone. It's 7 minutes after the hour, Thursday, April 4, 2019, 37 degrees outside. Tommy Goff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Matovin on the line in Vancouver, British Columbia. And, of course, you're tuned to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. So how you doing, Shane?
Well, I don't want to sound like I repeated myself, but the weather's cold, there's lots of rain, and it's headed your way.
Oh, thank you very much for all that. I needed that, so.
You're welcome, morning mayor.
All right, so we are finally recording again. So if you missed any part of today's program, and also last Friday we had a little glitch, but I've got that program with Greg Gianforte, the interview we had with him. So we'll put that up today as well. So we should be getting back up to speed, at least on the recordings, and hopefully by tomorrow, maybe we'll have the streaming back and the cell phones back and all of that. So I don't know. We can only pray, but this has been kind of a technology glitch that hit everybody everywhere. Some stations weren't even able to get on the air, so we're pretty lucky, at least from that standpoint. And
yes, indeed.
So hopefully we're live in Livingston also, but we're not on the cell phones yet or streaming to the rest of the world. So at least not. I don't think we are. Anyway, weather.
They have a nice lady saying we're having technical difficulties.
I know. Yeah, the nice lady over there on the cell phone is telling us, "Yeah, we're sorry. We'll get it fixed as soon as we can." And they're working hard on it. But I don't know what happened. But boy, it was a nasty whatever it was. So let's take a look at our local weather. We're looking for 53 degrees today. Wow, that's pretty nice. 53 degrees, 34 the overnight low. Partly cloudy. We'll have AM clouds and PM sun in the afternoon. So it'll be a little cloudy this morning and then clear out and be nice and sunny by this afternoon. And so you can get out and recreate a little bit. No chance of precip in the forecast. We got some showers tomorrow, later in the day, later in the afternoon, probably around your commute home. They're talking about maybe an eighth of an inch or something like that. Not much. 51 degrees will be the high on Friday, 33 the overnight low, and then Saturday 50 and light rain predicted, close to an inch of light rain there. So we'll get the grass and all the flowers started, I guess, trees up and running. And then on Sunday, 52, no chance of precip, but cloudy during the day. And then on Monday, another 50-degree day, and 34 will be the overnight low. AM showers there as well. So that'll bring you up to speed on at least the next few days and through the weekend. So we're excited to bring all that to you. And temperatures around the area right now, Livingston is 45 degrees and cloudy. Manhattan is 36. Three Forks is 37, and Galton Gateway is 40. Annis is 37. Gardner is 39. Big Sky is 34 degrees right now. And at the airport in Belgrade, it is 36. And here at our lavishly appointed studios, it's 37 degrees at 10 minutes after the hour on Thursday, April 4th, 2019. So there's your weather for you, Shane.
Terrific.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. What do you think?
Well, I think you're bragging with your weather, but, what can I say? It's your weather.
Hey, 50s, we'll take it all day long. So
all day long, yeah.
Well, this day in history, oh, my gosh, a lot of things happened again. Not too much from the British today, though. But
nope.
But anyway, in 1818, Congress decided the U.S. flag would consist of 13 red and white stripes and 20 stars, with a new star to be added for every state. And Betsy Ross, I think, gets the credit for doing that, but I don't know. There's some dispute about that, Shane.
There is, and I did a deep dive because out of respect for your president, who loves his flag,
yes,
I wanted everyone to know the current design of the U.S. flag is the 27th. So the flag has been modified 26 times since 1777. The 48-star flag was in effect for 47 years until the 49th star became official on July 4th, 1959, added for Hawaii. The 50th star flag was ordered by President Eisenhower on August 21st, 1959, and was adopted July 60, and is the longest version of the U.S. flag and has been used now for 58 years. That star was, of course, for Alaska. You started out with a British college flag that the colonies were given. It was called the Continental Colors in the colonies, but it was referred to by the British as the Grand Union flag. During the Continental Congress, they didn't authorize anything to do about the flag, and it would fall into the hands of others that were appointed. George Washington finally determining the need for something for the Navy, came to a resolution, and they made certain decisions which were good. And on August 3rd, 1777, Fort Schuyler, Fort Stanwix, for those you know your American history, the siege of that fort, the reinforcements of Massachusetts flew the flag. And the other thing that was so impressive is that on May 10th, 1779, Secretary of Board of War Richard Peters appointed a gentleman to standardize the flag for the U.S. Navy and your country. So there is a claim that Betsy Ross was the first to celebrate the anniversaries of the nation's birthday and started making flags in 1792. And her flag is shown in a painting in 1792 of the Continental Congress finished by John Trumbull. The other thing that's most interesting was the final designer was Francis Hopkins of New Jersey, a naval flag designer, and also signer of the Declaration of Independence. And he started to adopt the painting, and as they say, on May 25th, 1780, he sent a letter to the Congress to agree to both the Treasury Board, Continental Currency, and the Great Seal of the United States, as well as the U.S. flag. And the origin of it, as I said, was Betsy Ross, but Mary Pick, I love these names, Mary Pickersgill, who made the Star-Spangled Banner flag, says that she was originally the original maker of the flag. So flags have an interesting aspect to them. As you say, there's 13 stripes. So we want a caller to come in and tell us how many are white, how many are red, and what color are on the boundaries, because that's an important aspect of your flag. Okay. So there you go. That's your news for the American flag. Historical designs are quite fascinating because of the row of stars, started out right in parallel, and then they went to a circle with 13, and then they became different size rows depending on the states, and the rows of 6 and 7. Yep. There's my rant for Morning of Flag Day.
All right. Well, if you know the border of the flag and how many stripes of each are, 522-TALK, or text us at 478-8298, and we'll use that as our little morning teaser there. So
there you go.
1841, President William Henry Harrison died of pneumonia a month after his inauguration, becoming the first U.S. president to die in office. Gave a long speech in below zero weather, I think, for something like 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, and got pneumonia and died. So
he had typhoid fever for 31 days and passed away. It was succeeded by none other than John Tyler. Who was vice president, of course. And he turned out to be quite the harbinger of political wars, which he had in his reelection. So that that was very interesting. And the career of Harrison, he participated in the Battle of Fallen Timbers. That was really angry in Ohio, and then the Northwest Indian War, and Tecumseh's Confederacy, Tecumseh, brilliant guy, an Indian, set up his own confederacy in Ohio, and the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811, they wiped out his camp and his capital. That was his capital. And so there you go. Yep. That guy, Tyler, too, in Tippecanoe, he got a lot of attention in the 1840 election because of that.
Tippecanoe and Tyler, too. Yep, there you go. Yeah. So. 1850, the city of Los Angeles was incorporated, and we've regretted that ever since. So, 1887, Susanna Medora Salter became the first woman elected mayor of an American community. She was in Argana, I guess, Kansas.
That's right.
Yeah. 1888, Baseball Hall of Famer Tris Speaker, born in Hubbard, Texas. Tris Speaker. Never got to see him play, I don't think. But
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, he was before my time, but great baseball player. 1902, British financier Cecil Rhodes left $10 million in his will to provide scholarships at Oxford University in England. So that was a lot of money in 1902.
Yeah, he made a fortune in diamonds, mining in Africa, and he was sort of the beginning of the philanthropic turn in that century from the Gilded Age. And so a lot of Americans, being Americans as they are, had to donate larger sums of money to the existing colleges then because of him. Yeah. So this started a trend that's gone till today, which is why they have these massive endowment funds in all the schools. There you go. Yeah.
And, of course, the originator of the Rhodes Scholarship. The Rhodes Scholars are called Rhodes Scholars because of Cecil Rhodes.
There you go.
Yeah,
brightest and smartest in the world go there.
Well, I don't know. Bill Clinton went. He was a Rhodes Scholar, so I don't know.
Well, he was bright and smart. Well, how much trouble he got himself into.
Well, yeah. Well, he wasn't that smart. Yes. Might have been book smart, but he wasn't street smart.
That's right. Yeah.
1949, 12 nations, including the United States, signed the North Atlantic Treaty. So, there you go.
And it was the 4th of April after the war, and originally, as you said, there were 12. There's now 29 members. And the key to that treaty, is article, what was it? I was reading it here. The treaty states, the principal treaty, in the first or the 5th article, an attack against one is considered attack against all members. Yeah. And ever since the signing of that treaty, the military, particularly in the Pentagon, has always been concerned about it because that was the premise of World War I, where all the treaties that everyone had, which resulted in all these countries entering the war, and not for political reasons, but because of treaties that they had signed.
Right, yeah. Well, in 1949, 12 nations, we did that already. 1974, Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves tied Babe Ruth's career home run record by hitting his 714th round tripper in Cincinnati.
There you go. The nickname of this great baseball player, Hammer, or Hammerin' Hank.
Hammerin' Hank.
And, like you said, Milwaukee and the Atlanta Braves. 21 seasons. That's a long time. He played from 54 to 76.
Yeah, long time.
And held that home run record for 33 years.
Yeah.
He still holds other offensive records. He hit 24 more runs every year from 55 to 73. I mean, this is one of those guys that had a batting average of like 3.1, 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
So he was, he was brilliant as far as they look at it in baseball, right?
I guess, yeah. He fails 70% of the time. You're in the Hall of Fame, so there you go.
That's right. What a deal.
There's hope for you and I.
That's right. We should get out there into spring training and try out.
We should, right. Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break, and it will be a quick break. We don't have Montana news and agriculture because of our glitchy systems going on, but we will have at least one commercial. We'll be back in 30 seconds. 21 minutes after the hour. It's Thursday, April 4th, 2019, 37 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And you're listening to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. 1981, Shane, Henry Cisneros became the first Hispanic elected mayor of a major U.S. city in San Antonio, Texas.
And why not? It's a great Republican state, and they're always used to adapting and moving on and qualifying new people to run for office, which is going to be quite interesting. I think in this cycle you're going to see a lot of women running for office in the Republican Party, because of my theme of 2020 theme is "You're the Woman." So we'll see how that goes, and it'll work out well, I'm sure, for the Republicans and as well for the Democrats.
I don't know. All the women are working. All the Republican women are working. So I don't know. I don't know if they have time to run for office or not. So they're all running corporations and stuff. You
make me feel so welcome, the way you like throwing darts at my board.
Well, I don't know. There's how many women do we have running on the Democratic side? We're up to 20 now, or not 20 women, but we're up to 20 total people, I think. A couple more jumped in the ring the last couple of days, and Joe's still not in there yet. So they're going to have 21 or 22 folks. They're going to have to include Fox in the debates. They're going to have competing debates on other channels to get everybody in.
Yeah, well, the thing is the Republican joke for the debates will be the number of women on stage in relation to the number of men required to try and beat them.
Yeah.
That's going to be
that'll be interesting. Yeah, to see how they go at each other. So, yeah, as I say, that's a radio dream. Can't wait for the debates to begin. So. There you go.
Yeah, because Crazy Gate keeps running, baby. They keep running with it.
It will. 1988, the Arizona Senate elected Governor Evan Meacham, or convicted Governor Evan Meacham of 2 charges of official misconduct, and they removed him from office. We don't seem to do that anymore, Shane. We don't seem to. I don't know. What's his name from Minnesota? Al Franken, He went away on his own, I guess, but
and was a senator
and would have gotten kicked out probably. And
yeah.
There was, and who else? Spitzer, Elliot Spitzer, and
he left.
He left, yeah.
And the famous mayor of Washington D.C.
Yeah, Marion Barry got a yeah. Well, I think they all got TV shows, didn't they? They all got gigs on TV, and they're all authorities. That's how quickly we forget. Yeah. Why don't we have Al Capone comment on how bad things are in Baghdad?
I just want to know if the ex-governor of New York is still going on $10,000 dates. That's all I want.
Boy, I have no idea. I guess you'll have to ask him.
Early morning, can't talk.
Okay. 2003, U.S. forces seize Saddam International Airport outside Baghdad.
Amazing thing that it started on the 19th of March, 2003, and it was 21 days of major combat, and then they seized the capital. My favorite scene, of course, was the defense minister standing on the building saying, "They're not in the city. They're not in the city," and the U.S. tanks are coming right up the street behind them.
Right, yeah.
That was a great scene. I thought, oh, boy, are you in trouble. Yeah. And then on May 1st, 2003, George Bush made a declaration of the end of major combat operations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's established by all the reports and everything they did, but the big mistake was they fired everybody in the military, which meant the minions running everything disappeared, and basically the country collapsed. That situation.
Yeah.
But it was a remarkable accomplishment because 36 countries were involved in this, and the U.S., were able to move in a short period of 400,000 men and 12 tank divisions. I mean, that was just wow, all by plane too. Well, a lot by ship as well, but
true. Yeah.
Quite a thing, and we all know the end of it. The strength of the force was huge and overwhelmed them, and regrettably the losses were 171 killed by 139 U.S., 33 from the U.K., and 551 U.S. wounded. But it's one of those situations where the president involved, gets high accolades, and then it sort of falls off. The same thing happened to his father, right? And so anyway, there you go.
All right. April 4th, 1968, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., 39 years old, was shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee. And we all remember that. That was the same year Robert Kennedy was shot. And, boy, it was
it was not a good one.
It was a time, it was back in that time there, 68 to, Kennedy was shot in, 63, and Robert Kennedy, Sirhan, and James
and this
Ray,
was the day after he made his famous, I've seen the top of the mountain.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
And we talked about it. And he even preordained his assassination and saying that he didn't believe he had long to live.
Yeah,
so
that was it. Yeah.
What a prophet.
He said, I may not get there with you to the mountaintop, but
I'll be there when you get there.
I'll be there when you get there. So, 2003, Sammy Sosa of the Chicago Cubs became the 18th Major League player to hit 500 career home runs. So, Sammy was one of the ones, along with Mark McGwire, I think, that were accused of steroid use. But I don't know. They and Bobby Bonds, of course, as well. So
yeah,
a lot of these guys kind of cheating the system a little bit. So makes Henry Aaron and Babe Ruth look a little more human, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
So. And in 2006, the Iraq tribunal charged Saddam Hussein and 6 others, accusing them of genocide and crimes against humanity stemming from a 1980s crackdown against the Kurds. And in 2007, radio host Don Imus made an offensive on-air remark about the Rutgers University women's basketball team, and he was later fired by CBS Radio and cable network MSNBC. So...
and went on to fame from space.
Yep. Well, these guys always surface somewhere else. If you got talent or if you got knowledge, I guess you've always got a job. So I don't know, but
I think he's in a secret compartment in the space station.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. Anyway, we got to duck out here, pay a couple bills. Montana State News, Fox News, no weather with Brett Foster today. A couple other things going on, and we will be back with open lines and more local news right after this. 27 minutes before the hour. It is Thursday, April 4, 2019, 37 degrees outside. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Tom Eagle off your morning meter in the house. Shane Montalban, half man, half amazing, up in Vancouver, British Columbia. And, local news, Shane, we've got, Yellowstone Mining meeting. Everybody's going nuts over there. The meeting came just weeks after President Trump signed a bill that permanently withdrew mineral rights from 30,000 acres in the mountains north of the park, meaning nobody can stake any new claims to that area. So, I don't know. Most of Montana is owned by the government, so here's another 30,000 acres that are off limits to you. So. I don't know, boy. We used to be the treasure state, but anymore we're the we're the Washington, D.C. state.
Indeed. Well, and of course, the government in the Interior Department owns most of it. So, I mean, it's...
Yeah. So. Well, that's... therein is the problem, so...
Yes, indeed.
I don't know. I think it's great that we, preserve land and all of that stuff, but... there should be a limit that land that produces things, there should be some compromise there somewhere that, 30,000 acres, that's 30,000 football fields, if you want to put that in perspective.
It's not a small piece of property.
Yeah, it's not small at all. So certainly, anyway, the head of the group, the Crevice Mining Group, told a crowd of more than 50 that his company would move ahead with digging for gold despite the passage of a permanent ban. So I'm not sure how the sheriff may come out and see him. I don't know. So I guess we'll...
what's the deal with Gallatin County? Your commission denies 10-lot subdivisions. I mean, you need housing. Why would they do that?
Well, I was going to get to that in a minute, but...
I'm sorry. I'm just so shocked by it, reading it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm still on page 1. So,
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Yeah, I tend to be a speed reader because I'm reading constantly.
I know you are. So... Well, the other thing that, you were talking the other day, Shane, about the lawmakers picking their top projects, and it's already 4 months into the year.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, the list includes equal pay policy for city vendors, and I'm not sure what city vendors. What the city's not going to do any business with vendors unless they can prove they do equal pay. I don't know. I don't know what that means. We'll have to talk to Jeff Krause about that and see what they were talking about there. But encouraging high-speed internet citywide, everybody would like that, of course. Creating a program to add art to new public buildings. Yeah, we got to have art out there. But geez, yeah.
Well, I think because the great thing in restaurants, to support local art and talented art.
Sure.
They can, on consignment, hang art pieces in their stores and offer to sell them for artists. And it's a great way to enhance the community and the development of artists.
Yeah.
More power to helping them sell their product.
All right. Last year, Bozeman adopted a strategic plan to guide city goals beyond the current city's budget, and the commission added a new priority projects to that on Monday, and the mayor said it's the first time commissioners connected the dots between their list of major projects and spending, so everything connects back to the strategic plan. So the program would follow through with they're going to do 1% for art, I guess.
That's right.
And then gender pay project for vendors, one of the more complicated goals, and I would think so. Bozeman staff will study whether the city should create a clause in vendor contracts that requires them to establish a gender pay equality policy. Otherwise, they can't do business with the city. I mean, I don't know. State and federal laws already determine men and women should receive the same pay for the same level of work, but Bozeman plan could expand that to require contractors to acknowledge those laws, study equal pay for equal work best practices, and inform the city if the company is charged with violating equal pay laws. So, I don't know.
And if tonight's date night for those lovers out there, go to Big Sky Dance Sport tonight. Cha-cha-cha group classes. Great exercise. Great way to hold your significant other and fall in love.
Okay. Sounds like a deal. Lawmakers are also addressing the high cost of prescriptions. They're working on several bills to help rein in high costs of prescription drugs, mostly with a focus on pharmacy benefit managers. Those are the middle guys who negotiate prices with drug manufacturers, and Steve Bullock assigned one bill, and several others are moving through the legislature with strong support. So we'll be talking with Scott Sales about that on Monday at 8 o'clock. And I'm pleased that we can all actually agree that pharmacy costs are too high, and there are times the pharmacy benefit managers aren't doing right by Montanans. That's from Governor Bullock. Said he hopes lawmakers get them the bills early enough for him to determine how they might best work together. I'll put them all right next to each other and say, what's the best overall regulatory system that we have? So we'll see how that signs up and goes.
And for all those out there that need medications, when you go to a pharmacist, ask them what they charge to fill it, because you'll find that's the biggest cost in, really in getting your prescription, and you'll find there's competition. Some pharmacists charge a less charge to fill your prescription.
Yeah. Well, in your case, you can't call a prescription in. You got to see the doctor in Canada.
Yeah, we have to get a prescription, and then we just go and get it free.
Well, yeah, but you got to take time to go to the doctor's office.
Well, yeah, he's got to make his $35.
Well, that's what I mean. He's making big bucks there off of you, and yeah. Well, we got a new commercial building proposed for East Main. We're building right and left here, Shane, in Bozeman. A developer has filed plans for a 45,000 square foot commercial building on Bozeman's growing east side, located at 1101 East Main. The three-story structure will house D.A. Davidson and some other businesses, and Locati Architects will be working on the project. And the space is flexible and could accommodate offices, retail businesses, everything there, but restaurant, cafe, anything is possible. D.A. Davidson was attracted to the building because it was looking to consolidate about 40 employees working at 3 main locations so they can get into one location there for D.A. Davidson and all work in the same place, I guess. So
and I hope that they consulted with the Democrats about the new Green Deal, so this new building doesn't have to be torn down in 12 years and rebuilt.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I'm sure that they have all their ducks in a row for this.
Yeah.
So we'll have to ask Jeff Krause about that if any new buildings have to adhere to the new Green Deal. I guess no airplanes can fly over them or trains nearby or whatever.
That's right. Exactly.
Nobody can drive to work. So anyway, the company's anticipated growth at its Bozeman branch, and after scouting out 8 to 10 locations, they said the Bozeman Commons seemed like a good fit. So D.A. Davidson has had ties to Main Street since '77, and it makes sense for them to go in there. Now we can talk about the commission denying the 10-lot subdivision after we take this 2-minute break.
All righty.
We'll be right back. 15 minutes before the top of the hour, and it is Thursday, April 4, 2019, 37 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor. Shane Montalban on the line with me, and from our text line chain, 478-8298, we always look at Canada's medical system. We should look at Japan's medical system. What do you think? Okay. We lost Shane. Well, he'll be back. So, the Canadian and, one of the things about comparing all these various places is Japan is very homogenous. Japan is full of Japanese. They don't allow a whole lot of other people in besides Japanese folks. And so the question, I don't know, Shane, if you heard it before your phone went away, we were talking about instead of comparing Canada, we should compare Japan, their medical system.
Well, that's right. And, Japan is a interesting country because they have a different type of legislature, similar to ours, not the same, because they have an upper and lower house that actually work together. Having said that, it's a smaller country, but yes, they have individual developed medical centers around the country, and it's not single payer. It's funded by the government and taxes from the Japanese people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but it is a smaller country, and there are a lot of differences between the two cultures, and they eat better food and healthier normally than we do. So
and their demographics are terrible. 80% of their population is over 70, and so they're having a serious problem because the males are impotent and not being able to produce babies. And the people that study demographics, particularly population demographics, believe that there's a possibility in 75 years the Japanese civilization will be gone because they will not have been able to maintain their population demographics. So these are all the kinds of things that work into these issues. And so the biggest cost that Japan has is caring for the elderly,
right?
More than they do with disease. And a lot of it has to do with their diet, as you said, because it's mostly fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the most part. And then, of course, that may be hurt by Fukushima leaking into the Pacific Ocean too. So
that's right.
I don't know.
The biggest fish market in the world is in Tokyo, and it's an amazing experience to see. They start at 4 a.m, go to 9, and it's amazing watching these people trade fish is pretty impressive.
I bet. Yeah. I don't know. Well, when I start seeing 2-headed fish there, I think I'm going to think twice about
exactly
having a little fillet of myself. So, well, as you mentioned earlier, the Gallatin County Commission rejected a 10-lot subdivision, and they couple reasons they voted against it. Comments from concerned area residents was one reason, and there is also a concern about whether the subdivision design proposed use of a non-public access road. Of course, that would be illegal, and CNH Engineering and Surveying, which drafted the plan, said Middle Cottonwood residents would reach their homes primarily via an extension to a section of Mark's Way out there. So, however, nearby homeowners said that section of Mark's Way only allows for access to existing homes. So there's just too many uncertainties about traffic and the number of people coming and going and all of that, I guess. So when a subdivision comes in, they have a legal access as the plat is designed, and it appears that's not clear. So according to state law, let me finish this real quick. That's okay. According to state law, developers must include parkland, of course, based on the size of the planning community, or make a cash payment contribution to the county in lieu of a park. And plans for the Middle County subdivision included only a small strip of parkland, and CH Engineering stated that a cash contribution would fulfill the remainder of the requirement. So, go ahead.
Well, I remember we've talked about this too. And when a company makes this kind of request, they're required to put in all the infrastructure, the roads, the curving, the sewage, the water, the lighting, the street lighting. And so you would think that people in the surrounding areas would welcome it because it would only enhance the value of their property. I find it interesting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some of the laws in the county are, often different than they are in the city. And so, there again, I'm trying to get the county commissioners back in here. We've, obviously we got the city in here on a regular basis with Jeff Krause, but I'd like to get the county commissioners back in. Maybe not every week, but certainly, once in a while to address some of these things that we talk about on here. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gun safety education bill going to the Senate for a hearing. This was written by Helena Youth to get a gun safety education in Montana schools. So it's making its way through the legislature. House Bill 477, sponsored by a Democrat in Helena, would require the Office of Public Instruction to develop gun safety curriculum for schools. So in a Senate committee Wednesday, they said the legislation was a culmination of Helena students talking to law enforcement, legislators, gun store owners, school administrators, and others. And they want to encourage school districts to teach gun safety in the schools. And I think many of the older people who have been in Bozeman for a long time can remember they used to have shooting classes in schools here.
Well, and there are opportunities like the NRA, a great institution in your country, have developed safety classes. This is not something that not a great amount of money would have to be developed, for the class teaching, because they can get them free from the NRA. They also provide funding for this sort of thing. And who's going to miss the opportunity to go out and, shoot a gun and learn how to use a gun? I think it would be great. The bank should go in and teach them how to balance a bank account.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Why not? If you're gonna leave school and know how to use a gun, you should at least leave school and know how to deal with a bank.
Yeah, there you go. Well, from our text line 4788298 regarding the turn down of the subdivision, NIMBYs, not in my backyard. not gonna have that. So
there you go.
All right. Let's see what else is happening here. Well, Senator, I gotta learn how to pronounce this guy's name, Shane.
Okay.
Olszewski or Alzaweski or something like that. I gotta get with Aaron Flint and figure out how, because I hear him talking about the guy all the time, and he was a popular candidate. I was surprised he didn't do better than he did when he was running with a lot of the other candidates back in the 2016 election. But anyway, Senator Al, I'll call him that for now. He's going for governor against Tim Fox, and there is a possibility maybe that Our Congressman Greg Gianforte might jump in there for that as well, and we'll have to see how that works out. But and of course, Corey Stapleton is also in the run for that, and Steve Bullock is term limited out, so no Democratic candidates have popped up yet, but. Dr. Al is 56, elected to the State House in 2014, serving second term in the Senate, ran for the Republican primary for U.S. Senate in 2018, finished fourth in that race. And when asked how he would distinguish himself from other candidates, he said he would make sure this is a positive, constructive campaign and would transition to a positive, action-based administration. So.
Well, isn't that positive?
That's pretty milk toast, isn't it? All right. We got to take another quick break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. 3 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 4th, 2019, 38 degrees outside. From our text line, Shane, this is help. Try this, Al Olszewski. All right. I'm excited about that. Al Olszewski. I like it.
You better write it down.
I did.
Put it on a sticky.
I did. I've got it on a sticky note right here where I can always go to it. That's great. Well, thanks to the listeners out there. I've heard his name many times, and I've heard his interviews with Aaron Flint when they were running for it. But there you go. So.
Well, it definitely sounds like a Polish name.
Yeah. Well, I would say so. Well, also from our text line, 478-8298, more discussion on the one state, one vote idea for presidential election. I think it's worth consideration. Well, with the Electoral College being part of the Constitution, I'm not sure how that would play in.
That's right.
You'd have to amend the Constitution, I think, to do that. I like the idea of it. You'd win. If you won, 26 to 24, you'd be in. I guess.
That's right.
So, and that would take the popular vote out of it. Well, obviously, it would take the popular vote out of it because you just win your state or you wouldn't. So
that's right.
Yeah, so
but it requires a two-thirds majority in the House, two-thirds majority in the Senate. The president has to sign it, and then he's authorized to move it on to the states for approval. Mm-hmm. But ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, nope. I don't think that will work. I have no problem with the idea myself, but it certainly is, as the texter points out, it's certainly worth consideration. But I think if the Electoral College were not in the Constitution, that might be an opportunity to consider that. But I think as long as we got the Electoral College in the Constitution, I don't think they're going to let us change it easily.
Exactly.
That's the reason. So, all right, let's go wrap it up for this hour, and we got open lines all morning long. Anything you guys want to talk about, 522-TALK is the number, or 478-8298 is our text number, 406 area code, of course, if you happen to be outside the immediate listening area. And we are recording today's show, so we will have that up later. And also Friday's show, we had an interview with Greg Gianforte, so we'll have that up as well. So we got a busy day today, so we'll have all that stuff up. And as I say, if you've missed today's show or any part of it, you want to rehear it or hear more about it, we'll have it up today, probably right before noon. So that should wrap it up for this hour. And when we come back, what else? 5 things you need to know, right, Shane? Indeed. We'll be right back with more right after this. 3 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it is Thursday, April 4th, 2019, 38 degrees outside. Shane Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor, in the house. And, excuse me,
allergies.
Yeah, apparently. Frog in my throat. Whatever. All right. 5 things we need to know today, Shane. What do you think? Well,
the House Ways and Means Committee passed a resolution or threatened to send a letter formally requesting 6 years of President Trump's tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one of these political things that has nothing really to do with policy. But what I find interesting is, where are all the volunteers and the people running for president wanting to hand out their, tax returns for the last 10 years?
Oh, I'm sure they probably will.
But you get ahead of Trump if they all do it, and they go, we did, why don't you?
Right, yeah. Well, the House committee, as you point out, the key words here are they are formally requesting them. I don't think you can force a president to release their tax returns.
Well, that's the claim they'll make, Crazy Gate's still in force, and they would want to continue to make him a victim.
Right.
And, it'll end up in court in some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, at some point, I think at some point he'll return him, probably as a laugh after he wins his re-election. He'll put him out, but not now.
Well, the thing that most people don't realize, before you can get on the ballot to run for president of the United States, you have to release all of your sources of income.
That's correct.
And you have to do that each year you're in office. So Trump has done that. The first one was 104 pages of where his income comes from, various holdings and all of that. Plus, according to law, the president and the vice president are audited every year by the IRS for every year they're in office. So I'm not sure what these people think they're going to find that the IRS doesn't, because I'm pretty sure that they don't give the president of the United States a Motel 6 audit.
I don't either. And the other thing is they have to set aside their assets in hidden trusts or, transfer it to their family members to operate, everyone says, well, Jimmy Carter did it. Yeah, well, he also transferred his peanut farm to his brother and went bankrupt.
Well, yeah. He spent all the peanut money on Billy Beer, and
that's right.
That didn't quite work out. So
that's exactly right. Yeah,
I don't know. Speaking of that was really funny because you've got this president that Carter, for all intents and purposes, whether you like him or not, was a pretty smart guy. He was a nuclear physicist or whatever, or nuclear something. And, had a pretty high IQ. And then you got Billy over here. It'd be hard to tell him from a box of rocks. And the same with Clinton. Clinton's a Rhodes Scholar, and you got Roger Clinton over here that can't hold a job. So I don't know.
Billy Bob for Carter was like, Vice President Biden, and the comments he'd make when he was around Obama. I mean. Yeah. Billy Bob in the White House always had a beer in his hand.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, Billy was there. Where's the snack bar and where's the bar? From our text line 478-8298, instead of looking at tax returns of a wealthy man becoming a politician, we should look at the tax returns of politicians who became wealthy by being politicians. Yeah, so I would tend to think that is certainly something that would be worth looking into, because these people that come in and can. Well, I'll be interesting to see what AOC leaves with.
Yeah,
she's. Got her student loan and can't afford an apartment, but she'll probably leave a multimillionaire by the time she's out of there. So we'll have to keep tabs on her income.
Well, and Cortez's investigation is moving ahead quite interesting now.
Yeah,
they got pretty tricky. What they did was, they set up these companies to raise money that they used to fund, and they were set up as LLCs so that people could invest in them.
Right. Yeah.
With a promise of return. Well, the money was spent and no return. Right.
Well, boy, what they say, there's no guarantee.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. This stock may not perform in the future as it has in the past. So
exactly. And this may be dark money, but we're not going to call it that.
Yeah.
We're going to call it donation.
Well, some investigators who work with special counsel Robert Mueller have said Attorney General William Barr did not accurately summarize the findings of their probe as to what they reported was more damaging to Trump than Barr indicated, people familiar with the matter. 2 days after Mueller submitted his nearly 400-page report to Barr last month, the Attorney General sent Congress a 4-page memo summarizing his takeaways, barely citing the special counsel's office, but multiple summaries on the report had already been written, and some of the investigators said Barr should have put more of their conclusions into the memo. So, as we know, this continues, and I think the Republicans or the Democrats shooting themselves in the foot by making Trump a victim. They're making him a 100%. Victim. Yep.
And nobody mentions the letter that he sent Congress was also signed by Rosenstein, the Assistant Attorney General,
who's been in this thing since the very beginning.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, we know he put his name to the Visa warrant. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to dig a deeper hole by putting his name to the report him and Barr sent to Congress. He's already in enough trouble.
Right. Yeah. Well. I don't know. I think they need to just dump this whole thing. Get busy. If you want Trump out of office, you're not going to impeach him by 2020.
No.
I mean, it's going to take too long to do that. By the time you investigate and get all these people in here, it's going to be a year from now anyway. And you're just making Trump more of a victim. And, if you want to beat him at the ballot box in 2020, get your act together, get your candidates together, and form a plan to take him out. It's that simple. Right. I mean, I think they're just so stupid to continue this, barrage that he was illegitimately elected and, unqualified and nuts and whatever else he is, I mean. Yeah,
and as we talk at the independents, that are going to make up the decision, I read an article in Political last week, and they laid this out, the historical facts about previous presidents, where they were at this time in their term, and if they succeeded in winning a second term, and they all did if the following occurred. No major, global issue. The economy was strong. The dollar was strong. Trade is strong. And, that he had worked to make things better and managed to get policy through the Congress and signed. And, they put all these things together and they said, clearly the independents will vote for Trump and he will win in 2020, unless, as we've said, something happens and the U.S. Economy tanks. Don't see it happening, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's still got a long way to go. We're 18 months out or thereabouts anyway, so a lot can happen in that length of time. So, but I still think, you can subpoena. I mean, there's got to be millions of documents if they're going to go through every testimony of every one of 500 witnesses and 90 attorneys and 2,800 subpoenas and all of this.
I know.
I mean, you can't do that in 18 months. Because they only work 109 days. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a break.
It's not exactly a full-time job.
No. They're going to spend most of their time back campaigning. Particularly the House members. They could be in danger of losing the House if Trump does something gets another win or two or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it's sort of sad that part-time people are running the largest country in the world, though. You got to admit that, right?
Yeah, right. From our text line 478-8298, old Pencil Neck and Nadler. What a pair to draw to. Shaking my head.
Oh my goodness! Oh my! And the thing on all the networks yesterday is they showed Nadler speaking to this issue back with the Clinton Star report.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, we can't have all this stuff freed up and all that.
Yeah, grand jury information and national security information and, any information about people that were investigated and found to be innocent. You can't put that stuff out.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll go on.
All right. We will and we can.
Yes, we can. It's our right to.
We have that right.
That's right.
All right. Well, Ethiopia says the pilots are off the hook and the Boeing instructions before the crash. So it's in Boeing's ballpark now with 4,000 of these planes on order and whatever. So.
Well, the difficulty National Safety Board of the U.S. has is the Ethiopian government won't turn the box over to them. You know, all this information that's coming out is from the Ethiopian investigation.
Right, yeah.
So it puts it in a little doubt as to, what they're putting out as far as it, the Ethiopian Minister of Transport, Dagamawat Mojes, it says in a news conference, Boeing should review aircraft flight control system related to the flight controllability. Well, they sort of like to know what the box says, to get an idea.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Because we've had two of these. We've got two boxes, I guess, that, as you point out, the Ethiopians don't want to give theirs up right away.
That's right.
But the other one, were they both in Ethiopia? I don't remember where the other crash was. I don't know.
Where was it? I'm sorry. It's out of my mind.
Me too. Yeah, because we're concentrating on the last one so much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure where the other one was, but I don't think they were both Ethiopian.
No, they weren't.
I remember one was New Lion or something like that, but
yeah, it was the name. That was the name of the airline.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll try and find that out.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, you'll look it up. All right. So let's see. Also, the person identified as Senior White House Official 1 in the transcript of testimony by government whistleblower, we all know who the whistleblower is, is President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner. During her interview with House Oversight Committee staffers Tricia Newbold, who is the whistleblower, from the White House Personal Security Office, said she and other career officials determined that Senior White House Official 1 had too many significant disqualifying factors to receive a security clearance. They were specifically concerned about his private business interests, personal conduct, and potential foreign influence. People who viewed committee documents said that Newbold said that they were overruled by the office's former director, Carl Klein, a Trump appointee. So,
well, again, 2 million people hold, clearance for security. By the way, I've contacted the U.S. State Department because we do an international show, requesting that we get a security clearance because we should be able to get more information to talk about.
We should.
And second of all, he was hired because of his knowledge of private business and personal contacts and potential foreign people that he could work with, and particularly in the Middle East. So, it's give it a break. There's over 4,000 jobs to fill in the White House. 175 of those positions still haven't been approved by the Senate, and he's 2 years into his presidency. So, it's always misdirection with the Democrats, They won't approve his choices. He's got, another 200 people for, lower scale positions in different departments. Of course, they would replace Obama people. But, the Democrats in the Senate just won't let them come up for votes.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back in 3 minutes. So with more of the 5 things you need to know. So hang in there. We'll be right back. It is 21 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Thursday, April 4th, 2019, 38 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house, and welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And Shane McTomin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And from our text line, Shane, if we must amend the Constitution, then one state, one vote. Every vote counts. In the event of a tie, we fall back on the Electoral College. With the national popular vote, there's no reason for states to exist at all, lest we forget we are a union of states. So,
well, in that case, really, if a tie were to occur, it would go into the House of Representatives, which we called. We covered a couple of days ago, and the first case of that was with Thomas Jefferson. So there is an answer for it, but again, it's just not something. It's just it's more politics, and it gets them away from having to talk about policy, right? That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, how can we get an advantage on the other party? So
yeah, exactly. How do we stay in power?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, how do we bring the president down and stay in power and get our guy or girl elected? So
every time.
Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
I don't think the way to stay in power is one state, one vote. I think the Dems are going to buy into that one. But you never know, they're not the brightest bulbs on the block.
No, that's true. So,
but I've been thinking about this. What are they going to do in the primary? They're going to try to out-left each other? What are they going to do?
Well, I think originally that's been the case in the conservatives. Who's more conservative, me or you or whatever, and that's why Jeb Bush got left behind, and Ted Cruz came to the forefront. And then when the election comes around, then you move more to the middle because, as Shane pointed out earlier, you got to get the independents on board. The independents aren't going to go for far left or far right, So,
and they'll decide the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you look at what's been going on, personally, I don't think either party's capable of governing this country anymore. I think they're both nuts. But I do. I'm serious. Look at what's been going on here. The Republicans and the hypocrites.
Yeah. Well, the Republicans don't have any backbone, and the Democrats are running wild over Nancy Pelosi. She didn't know what to do with a Muslim, a 29-year-old bartender, are sucking all the oxygen out of the room, and their candidates aren't getting any playtime, on the air.
Yeah, my new moniker for the Democratic Party is the Demo Party. Demolish everything.
Let's start with the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Demo Party, yeah. Demolish it all, yeah.
Demolish it all, yeah. But, I don't see, what are they going to, abortion? Late-term abortion? No, I don't think that's going to fly.
They lost that.
Yeah. So, and you can go right down the line, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that, security clearances, they get more, I don't know, phony by the day. What's going on? One
question I'd like to ask these guys at the debate is this: how large is the cattle herd in the United States? How many people does it employ? How much money is generated down the line, providing that money through the system to the family's front table? And how many people are you talking about losing job in industry? From the farmer to the butcher, the slaughterhouse. These are all union jobs, and all the way to the stores where they're cut up again, union jobs, and then sold in the stores with people, with jobs doing it. These are the simple questions you need to do, and then ask them, just how big is the herd? How big is the U.S. cattle herd in the United States? I don't think one of them would know.
No, I agree. They won't. But look what they're doing now. They won't give any aid to the Nebraska flood farmers unless they get $700 million more for Puerto Rico. You got a million acres underwater.
Yeah.
You got 1 million dead calves. You got I don't know how many dead pigs.
Yeah.
If I was going to give anybody any financial advice, I'd say stock up the pantry now.
Right.
Yeah. Especially with bacon.
I was going to say bacon's going to go up a little bit in price here, I think.
Yeah, bacon, a lot of things are going to go up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see where they're going. I think Biden's done.
We're going to talk about him next. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done, and it ain't just these women. It's the net. It's all over the net now. Is hunters deal in the Ukraine and China.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's going to be worse, I think, than the women.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably talk his way out of that one.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a problem with the Ukraine mess.
Mm-hmm. And he can't play. I don't want to sound cold and impersonal here, but I will. He can't. He can't get sympathy for Hunter's death any longer. That's been too long ago. So.
Yeah, or his other son. No, his son is
the other son. Yeah,
the other one.
His other son.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got problems, and they got a big field going right now. I'm beginning to wonder how many are going to be there come primary time.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, you can throw your hat in the ring, but if you can't earn money, if you can't raise money, then
exactly,
you're not going to make it very far.
Yeah, you have to qualify. You have to qualify for the debate. So
right.
my call is 12. There'll be 12 people on stage.
Well, I don't know. I don't see anything that's going to, I'm sure the Green New Deal will raise them some money, and, they want open borders, and they want late-term abortion. I mean, that's just not anywhere near the center of this country.
No.
I'm sorry. I mean, they're just not there. So the way I look at it right now is that they're split.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bunch of pansy patch dwellers on our side, and they're split.
Well, the big thing that the Democrats are going to do in the debates is they're going to constantly bash Trump, and that's going to make Trump more of a victim, even more than he is now. So,
right.
They're going to go after him hot and heavy, probably more so than each other, because they feel that he was unjustly elected. Hillary got way more votes than he did, and he shouldn't even be in office. So they're going to present all of themselves as who's the best alternative to this guy who shouldn't even be there.
Well,
my big excitement is to see, is it old school, or it's man, woman, man, woman, man, woman, or it'll be all men on one side of the stage and all women on one side of the stage.
Well, that'll be based on either money or polls.
Probably.
They got to be careful. I'll tell you why. Because that whole Mueller report. I mean, I have no idea what's in it, but you can't tell me that Mueller didn't run into any of the Hillary crap. He knew what was going on, and he knew what he was going on before the last election.
My friend, two things are important. He was in charge of the FBI when Uranium One went down, and she was Secretary of State. Mm-hmm. Number two, Obama knew that in 2014, the Russians were going to interfere and did nothing. And in 2014, Loretta Lynch could have indicted what's his name? The guy that they put in prison.
Gotta go. We gotta go.
Oh,
See
ya.
All right. Thanks, Pete.
You bet.
We'll be right back. News at the bottom of the hour. 27 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 4th, 2019. 39 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And you're listening to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane and Tom on the line in Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And we're...
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Let's see. The market just opened, Shane. You got maybe a little market report?
Always.
We could do, yeah.
We always like to have that handy for people that want to know what's going on with their 401ks. So the Dow's up 11, S&P 500 2, NASDAQ 2. Europe is off a bit today. I guess that's because of May's bullet, that she, as you said, bit yesterday. But their markets are still up for the year. Nothing cold-hearted there. But their economy in Europe is, and it's not growing, and they're having issues. Shanghai and the Nike in Japan is at 21,000. Marginal, no change. Shanghai, marginal, no change. The CSI in Hong Kong is up 50, and Shanghai 50 is up 31. The interesting one, of course, is the Kospi in South Korea holding up, and it's up 0.14 today. So everything around the world is looking good from equity markets. And, of course, our favorite industrial issues are gold and silver, and they're holding up. There's no major shift, 1283 in gold, so it's down marginally from the 1350 it was heading to. Silver is under $14. I'm not concerned about that because of its industrial use. Soybeans are up again today, 325. Wheat's up 475 again today. Lumber's up 550. That's a good reckoning of home building in the country. And corn is up $1.75. Live cattle up marginally. Lean hogs well, as you heard our last caller say, they may go up higher, but unchanged today. Copper is down still in that, the resource-based side of the economy is still in the doldrums, so we haven't seen any major move there. The U.S. government bonds, as we always talk about, 10-year yield is 2.5 down again, and the 30-year yield is 2.87 down once again. Currencies are holding in. The euro against the U.S. is $1.12, the pound 1.31, the great Canadian dollar, as you all know, 1.33. Mexico's 19, and China is 6.71. So doesn't seem to be any panic in the equity markets, the sovereign debt markets. So we're all safe until tomorrow when we report again.
All right. And the inflation rate in Venezuela is holding steady at 2,295,000%. 2,295,000%. So
there you
excited
go.
About that. Good for them.
Well, a dozen bananas will get you a roll of toilet paper.
Well, I don't know. I think it's going to be a truckload of bananas, actually, but what do I know?
So this is sort of important. The last thing, 5 things to know, was Joe Biden. And he makes this big statement yesterday because this issue about his kissing, his hugging, and so forth, and all the pictures are really what hurt him. Mm-hmm. But I want to make this observation because I think it's important. Your president, the great President Trump, understood social media. And the fellow running his campaign is a brilliant guy. He used social networking to get the president elected. Now, here's why the tweet is so important to President Trump, and Biden's trying to test it out. Number one, he does a 50-word tweet, and he stands back and it controls the news cycle, and he sees how people respond to it. Number two, he doesn't have to have a press conference about it if it's not something he wants to talk about, so it saves him that. Number four, he reaches like 200 million people with it. So what does Biden do? He puts out a tweet with a video saying social norms are changing. I understand that, and I've heard what these women are saying. Politics, to me, has always been about making connections, but I will be more mindful about respecting personal space in the future. That's my responsibility, and I will meet it. 2 words missing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, those are the words. Yeah. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Had a caller patiently waiting. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I hear that Tom is getting suicidal.
I could be, yeah.
I went to a lecture last night, and speaking of statistics, the United States, the rate of suicide is steadily going up, and every other European country, the rate of suicide is going down. And one of the old saws that Tom gives is, I came to Montana to let Montana change me. I didn't come to change Montana.
Right.
So Montana leads the country in suicide. So you must be trying to become more suicidal because Montana, and you must be trying to drink more alcohol because at least half the people that commit suicide have alcohol in them. You're probably trying to get more insensitive to animals because people, they had a video and they showed a lot of people are very insensitive to animals in rodeos. So you accept all these kinds of things that the Montanans do. Now you're trying to fit in with the Montanans.
I'm right on the edge of the cliff, man. It's a day-to-day thing with me. I here today, gone tomorrow.
So, Tom, I got to clarify something. Is this Daniel on the phone?
That is Daniel on the phone.
Oh, I have nothing to say to him until he apologizes.
Oh, I apologize.
There you are. He apologized, Shane.
Well, there you go. I accept your apology.
All right. So, anyway, well, I came for the good things of Montana, not the bad things. I'm not a drinker. Don't own any firearms. So I think I'm safe for the time being. So I will try to be a voice of positiveness to the masses out here. That taking your own life is certainly not something that you want to do. Even though some people have probably thought about it from time to time when things got rough, but I think for the most part, life is pretty good, even if it's not great. But bad things are temporary normally, unless it's medical or something like that. But
here's another little factoid that came up in a lecture that Grandma just has a habit of keeping a loaded gun in her drawer to knock out the coyotes. Coyotes. And the young men, they know where it is, and if they get stressed, they'll rush to it and put it to their head and kill themselves. So it's just the habit of having guns laying everywhere, loaded and ready to go.
Well, that's certainly true. Guns are, they should be properly stored, and as we've talked about on here many times, if somebody seems depressed or whatever, or talking suicidally, they should, we should refer them to someone or get them help.
Yeah, and then they had a video of a guy from Missoula. It was a BBC. They went to the heart of suicide in the United States, so they chose Missoula. And
all right,
he said that
no surprise there.
That he grew up. And they said it was middle-aged white guys are taking it. Are the key suicidal people. And he said he grew up trying to be the hero and fight the communists and fight the good battle, and it became too much for him, and he became suicidal. And he held his gun in his hand, and his one friend, his dog, looked up at him, and he said, wait a minute, I got to put another shell in here and shoot the dog first.
Yeah, you got to get the dog first.
He couldn't bring himself to shoot his dog, and that was the only thing that held him back.
Well, there you are. I couldn't shoot my dogs either, so I got another help. Plus, I'm not middle-aged anymore, Daniel. I'm way past that. So, hey, thanks for the call, though. Thanks for your points. All right, take it easy. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, this is Aaron. How you guys doing?
Hi, Aaron.
Yeah, it's no wonder middle-aged white guys are out there off themselves. They're kind of the whipping boy of the country right now. If you're white in this country, you're responsible for every wrong that America's ever done. But I just want to tell you guys a story. You want to hear a story?
Sure.
Okay, so on April Fool's Day, April 1, a fellow that owns a business with the same name as mine in the same trade died. Well, I don't know when he died, but someone in his family went to the bank and gave the bank a death certificate for that individual, and the bank froze everybody's
froze the account. Yeah,
and consequently they froze mine. So on April Fool's Day, right?
Right,
so
of course.
My wife tells me, "Hey, we need some money in the personal account because I need to stop and get groceries," and so I go to transfer some money in there. And guess what? All my business accounts are frozen, and I don't know why. So I call the bank, and they're like, "Yeah, I have no idea why. It looks like there was a death of the person that owns the account." I'm like, "Okay, so somebody's punking me, right? This is crazy." But so it turns out that the guy died, and they just had a mix-up. But it was kind of a weird thing to have happen to you on April Fool's Day.
Well, okay, I guess.
Well, wait a second.
That's a crazy April. I mean, that's a serious thing. It really happened.
Yeah.
Did it happen before? Did it happen before noon?
You guys had an April Fool's week with your internet and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck is going on here, right? Nobody nobody cares. You don't even care, man. Boy, I thought we were friends. You guys have a good day.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
522 Talk is the number. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Oh,
Hi.
this is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
I don't know. When I was in high school, I ran for an office for FFA, and they had me read something that I think all of the representatives, all the folks in the office should read. I think it's maybe the Robert Rules of Order. I tried looking it up on a computer, but I'm not very computer friendly. But it says once you're in office, you don't only represent the folks that voted you in, but you represent all of the people in whatever you're running for. This sure not happening. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Hey, thanks for the call. From our text line, Shane, how do you access a properly stored weapon when someone is in your home uninvited? That's well, you can't do that in Canada, can you, Shane?
No.
You got to have parts of the weapon in different rooms and everything under lock and key. So,
That's right.
Yeah, if somebody's uninvited to your home in Canada, you're just pretty much out of luck, I think.
You are indeed. Yes, indeed, sir. Yep.
All right, from our text line, 478-8298. Thanks for having a positive attitude, Tom, unlike Daniel, whose message is always negative. Let's see. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Ooh. And Daniel sends me over the cliff, so...
Well, yeah, and, it's a sad commentary that he brings it up in the way he did because, you're losing nearly 15 servicemen a day.
Yeah.
From suicide in your country every day.
Yeah, that's true.
And, it's a major problem. And, if you want to come on the show and talk about it, maybe talk about the people out there that are working to solve the problem and, all the things that are available for people to do, to call and get support and talk about the positives of solving the problem.
Yeah.
Instead of accusing the host of the show as being suicidal. That was a great line, Tom, I have to tell you. You do not come off to me as a person that's suicidal.
No, not particularly.
No, not
well,
particularly.
I like what I'm doing, so I'm okay. So if from our text line also, 478-8298, if Daniel thinks Montana is that bad, leave. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Good advice.
Yes, there you are. So, well, I don't want to dwell on suicide for the rest of the show, Shane.
No.
But that certainly it is a serious problem, and with our access to guns, and I think a lot of the suicide in Montana, one of the reasons it leads is because the opportunities here are limited. For people.
That's right.
They are extremely limited. Unemployment is extremely low. Wages are not keeping up with inflation, and the cost of living here. We reported on that the other day. So a lot of people find themselves, boy, I'm pushing this rock uphill, and the rock's getting heavier, not lighter.
That's right. Exactly.
And, that's the deal. So, from our text line, an empty gun is a club. That would be right.
It would be.
I would go along with that. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, swing that rifle. So.
Well, and the police do have statistics on that too. That.
Sure.
I think more cases of people having arms to protect themselves in their home.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to look it up, but I think the last time I looked it up, there are a lot of cases where people have had their own weapons turned against them. So that's another issue you have to be aware
it is, yeah. That just because you have a weapon in the home doesn't mean that the
intruder.
It is not easy to shoot another human being.
That's right.
When you're standing there with the gun. Boy, that's a tough, as Clint Eastwood said in the movie The Unforgiven, you take away everything a man's got and everything he will have. So when you shoot him. So, So yeah, it's not easy for someone who even if you're trained, I mean, you go to a shooting range on a regular basis, and boy, when you're confronted with a paper target versus a living, breathing human being standing there, not everybody's up to pulling that trigger. And
exactly.
And that's when you lose the gun, and they are capable of pulling the trigger, and you're a statistic rather than them. So.
And the police in your country are trained that if they're going to draw a gun, they should intend to use it, and if they use it, it's center chest, right? So
well, certainly aim for the body because it's the biggest part. Your chances of stopping them are pretty good there. That you're going to you may or may not hit a vital organ, but it will certainly slow them down a little bit. And from our text line, somebody says, shoot him in the knee. Well, sometimes that's a smaller target.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, or as they, what the police sometimes say, if you got a hostage situation, shoot the hostage, and then you get shoot the hostage in the knee.
Well, and if it's a Democrat, they've already shot themselves in their foot, so they're limping forward.
I was going to say, yeah, they're already limping already, so you have an advantage there. So
yeah, you do have an advantage.
Yeah,
there.
If the intruder limps in, you can put on your magma hat and pull your gun and. And they'll leave.
Yeah,
they're outnumbered. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let's take another quick break here, 2.5 minutes, and we'll be right back with more right after this. 5.5 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 4th, 2019, 39 degrees outside. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Matobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And, we've been talking about all kinds of things this morning.
Yes,
yeah. If you shoot an intruder, shoot for the head. Dead people tell no tales. There you are. So I guess that's good advice there. So, let's see. Shane should have no problem since he's a Canadian. The intruder's gun will be in pieces too. Yeah.
Then it becomes a matter of bat size.
I was gonna say you have to, don't you? Yeah, I'm gonna go over and rob Shane's house, so I'm taking my rifle over there. So you got to call the MPs and let them know.
The RCMP, yeah.
Yeah, the RCMP and let them know you're coming. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, I don't know.
I don't know.
Shoot him in the knee. It makes no sense to have a gun, but not shoot it, because if you don't want to kill someone, but have the idea that you have to shoot center chest, start with the knee. If they're still coming after that shot, whether or not is a hit, move to center mass. So, yeah, I guess that can. I guess it all depends on how comfortable you are with firing a weapon. That's where it all comes down to, Shane, I think. Because you mentioned before, if you've never fired a gun before, it's kind of it's an amazing experience.
It's a transcendental change in your life. How about a crossbow? I mean, that's got to scare someone when you point a crossbow at them.
Well, that could be a little scary, yeah.
That would be scary, yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't think a slingshot would work.
You only got one shot, though.
Yeah, slingshot.
If you miss, here they come. Yeah. Then you got a club.
Then you got a club.
Yeah. Yeah, they need a crossbow with a bumper stock.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Exactly.
That'll work. Well, yeah. I know certainly, my wife and I have talked about going to a shooting range and whatever, because, at our age, when I was younger, I think I could take on most people that would come in my house. I'm not a small guy, so certainly if I could get close enough to them, I could probably hold my own. But even though
you just play the Biden card and go up and hug him.
Well, that's what I could do. Yeah, I go up there and can I sniff your hair, please? Would that be okay? Yeah. Would you mind that? So I don't know. But we were talking about Joe earlier, and I don't know. Even his little personal whatever you want to call that thing he did. He still seems creepy to me.
I know, it is. Some of those pictures are pretty creepy. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, and those have been around forever. I'm surprised this didn't come up more when he was running for vice president. That, I'm really surprised some of these people didn't come out then. But,
well, like I was saying in the last block, Biden and Obama could have, gone after Manafort in 2014. They knew about his banking issues in Chicago back then.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's
Sure.
right. There, he's got the Iranian deal to have to explain to Americans. I just, there's so much that he has to explain over the last 8 years, and I just don't see him. Why hurt your legacy? Everybody thinks you're a great guy. He can go around and stay at embassies around the world. He's got a Secret Service detail. I mean, go enjoy your life.
Yeah, there you go. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling you on the air. What's going on?
Hi, I wanted to get in on that Joe Biden joke you guys got going.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Huggy Kissy.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I don't see a thing wrong with any of it, actually. I mean, he's a grandpa,
He is. He's Uncle
the
Joe.
grandpa to the world.
Yeah.
But what happens if he's elected and he gets over to England and he meets the Queen?
Starts grabbing her?
What's he going to
Boy,
do? He's going to grab her. He's going to reach over to kiss her and on her hair and knock her hat off.
Well, those guys with the tall hats and the sabers will become.
I know that just won't work.
There you go.
No.
Hey, thanks.
It is illegal in England. It is illegal in England to try and touch the Queen.
That's right.
Is.
Yep. Don't touch her unless she touches you. So that's
you can offer her flowers, but she has to take them from you.
Right. Yep. So she uses the Nancy Pelosi, the straight arm.
That's right.
All right.
You got me on that. See, that was my lead in.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back with more right after this. 3 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, it's Thursday, April 4th, 2019, 40 degrees outside. Getting warmer out there, Shane. Things are going pretty good here. So maybe all of our snow and rain and everything's gone, but we do have some moisture in the forecast, but we are looking for, let's see, what are we looking for? A high of 53 degrees today, so we're ready for that, certainly. So, hey, let's go. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298. Today's show is being recorded, so the latest shows aren't being posted. Just wondering what's up. I can't download them to listen for later. Thanks, guys. So, part of our problem that we had, we haven't been able to record, but today we finally got the computers working again, at least partially. And we are recording today's show, so that will be up later on this morning. And also Friday's show with Greg Gianforte. We're also going to put that show up as well. So we'll put two shows up for you today that maybe you haven't heard before, but hopefully that will we'll be back to recording as normal. And that's the recordings go to a different place than the Town Square website, so it's unaffected by any technical issues or anything like that. So, from our text line, 478-8298, oh my God, sniffing the Queen's hair. That's pretty funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can see Biden go up there. Yeah. How you doing there, Ann?
Well, I'd be careful because with the stockings she wears, I don't think she shaves her leg.
Well, I don't know. I can't tell. I can't address that. I will tell you this. So, if you're royalty, I wouldn't think you would personally shave anything. You'd have people that would do that for you.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah. You have people dress you. You have people, do all your stuff. So anyway, let's see, from our text line, 478-8298, on my ranch, all guns are kept loaded, so I could use it immediately. Now that I live in town, most of my guns are unloaded. Only my self-defense guns are loaded. So there you are.
That's the way to be.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. Well, be safe. If you got smaller kids, put the guns up higher where they can't get to them, and
of course.
But if you got teens and things like that, well, I don't know. You have to you have to evaluate your kid, I guess.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
are they wackos or not? And well, as they said, teenagers are God's revenge. How do you like creating someone in your own image who denies your existence? Well, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
That was really funny.
That was funny.
I thought so too.
This is Charity.
Hey, Charity.
Hi, Charity.
Hi. So I just wanted to say that I sympathize with the Biden issue in an interesting way because I used to work at Bear's Truck Stop when I was a teenager, and there were a couple of old guys in there that would tease me all the time. And one of the men in particular, he had this habit of, if I were to reach for his ticket or hand him change or whatever, he would grab my hand. And at first it was just put his hand on top of my hand on the counter, and then it became grabbing my wrist and, looking into my eyes like, what are you going to do?
Right, yeah.
And anyway, I was thinking that as much as I told him that I didn't like what he was doing, and it took me a while to get to that point where I was like, okay, this is harassment, he still never stopped. And so I began to take, evasive maneuvers. But I realized that one of the things I haven't heard from these women that have been talking about this over the last week, I haven't heard anybody say that they told him they didn't like what he was doing and that he repeated the behavior. And so anyway, I guess that's kind of what I was looking for, because I know that it took me a while to speak up, and
well, you don't want to be rude to somebody, and the guy was a vice president of the United States, or he was a senator, or he was in a position of authority, and you certainly don't want to offend somebody like that. I think a lot of people felt uncomfortable, but okay, here I am with a vice president or senator or whatever it is at the time, and it's a little different than you at the truck stop with a truck driver, but.
Well, he wasn't a truck driver. He was just a local guy.
Oh, okay.
And he was 75 years old or so, and he's just somebody's grandpa. But he thought it was really funny, and I didn't think it was funny at all. So,
well, yeah, I think some people, and I think Biden probably falls into this, and we've kind of all known people like this that, and I try my best not to fall into this trap that when you're in your 70s and you're older, you're non-threatening to most people. They're
right.
You're not. I'm not going to ask you out, Charity. So, but
yep. So I'm not a threat to you.
Yeah. And so I may think, well, she won't mind if I give her a hug or. Hold her hand or something like that, that, because I don't get to do that very much, I'm old and nobody wants to touch me or be around me, I smell funny and,
Well, and the other thing, too, when we're older and we're grandparents and dealing with grandchildren, our children shouldn't enable us. They should tell us, Grandpa, that's not something you should do. And I know that, you're old school, but, today it's just... We don't do that now, Grandpa. And, you can do it in a nice way, but you shouldn't enable them. And that's the problem, is that women allowing him to do this enabled him.
Well, yeah. In some cases, that's true. And, Grandpa, we don't do the pull the finger thing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's just a comment I wanted to make that I've been waiting to hear if any of these women ever said that I told him I didn't like it and he did it again, or... something like
well,
that.
I think as one woman comes forward, then you saw immediately, 3 or 4 others came forward with the same situation. And I don't think anybody thinks of Joe Biden as being some kind of a sexual predator. He's not going to ask you to get a room at the, Motel 6 and meet him there.
But he is weird.
He's weird. He is a weird guy. No question there.
I don't think I'd trust him.
Well, when you step in the ballot box, that's where trust meets the road, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm
not saying that disqualifies him from being president. I'm just saying I wouldn't trust him, personally.
Yeah.
But everybody else that wants to be around him, they could decide that for themselves. So.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I hope he doesn't end up a Kraft and people find out that he's got a favorite massage parlor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You never know. That's why I say.
You never know. Yeah.
I don't know the guy.
Thanks, Charity.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for the call. All right. Thanks for listening. Let's see. From our text line, if you done a survey on your weekend programs, I, for one, after Dominic changed it all, have quit listening except for Jacobus and Coast to Coast. So, yeah, we're, well, unfortunately, I don't have the power to do anything about if I did, I think there are some changes that I would certainly like to make, but until, some decision is made, I'm not sure that I am the one who, I have ideas of what I'd like, but don't have the power yet to do anything like that. So let's take some more phone calls. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Well, I was thinking about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I guess we could get to keep our shotguns.
Well, yeah. Joe likes a shotgun. Yeah.
Joe likes a shotgun.
Get a shotgun, yeah.
And I was thinking about, well, Joe does run.
Yeah.
He could pick a up and coming star for a running mate.
Yeah.
Ms. Cortez, and they could run on the let's see what we could call that grope and dope.
Yeah, there you are. That would work. I like that.
Which would be a lot better than if Anthony Weiner and Eric Holder ran.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Weiner Holder wouldn't work.
Well, I don't know. For the Democrats, it might.
Well, it might, yeah. Well, if Bill Clinton was running again, maybe. I don't know.
There you have it.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Hey, it's interesting the hypocrisy that goes along with all of this. I mean, you've got Joe Biden who's, groping and everything else like that along the way. But yet, when then President-elect Trump or candidate-elect Trump was on stage with Hillary and was following her behind, they called him stalking her. Just absolutely amazes me that, they'll hang any Republican possible or accuse them of anything possible, but yet when it comes to one of their own party, they're not willing to use that same accusation for him. So just want to point that out.
Yeah. No, thanks for the call. All right. Appreciate it. From our text line, 478-8298, Trump is fighting for the census count also. Illegals should not be counted in the census. It gives states like California more electoral votes than they deserve. Citizens only should be counted in the census. People need educated about the importance of that. Please bring it up and talk about it frequently. Old isn't an excuse. My grandparents' old friend stuck his tongue in my mouth when I was a teenager. Knew him all my life. We'll never forget the old a-hole now. There you go.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah. Coast to coast is dangerous mind garbage. So, I don't know. Biden is weird. When you're famous, they let you do it. So that could be an issue, I guess. So probably some truth to that. So, all right.
Well, the comment about the census report in your country, like ours, is it's a way for the government to determine how to hand out benefits to states, and money for the different departments of the executive branch to provide funding for things in different states based on their population. So it's not only a reasonable, but this did exist in the previous consensus, and it changed back in the 50s. So it should be added in because there's such a large number of undocumented, illegal, whatever you want to call it, immigrants in your country.
Yeah. Let's see. Sick of rush repeats on weekends, although some probably hear it that didn't, but not during your time. Should be different. Best of your show. Saw Larry recently and told him miss him on the radio, and he said he'd been thinking about it. So maybe time to bring Larry back to KMMS.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Ethos commercial on top of beginning of Montana Talk. So glad it's back on. Yeah, sometimes the clock doesn't work exactly the way it should be. But, yeah, we finally got Montana Talks back on yesterday. So hopefully it'll be on today. All the other programs, I think, seem to run normally. So we're getting closer to getting everything fixed. The only thing left is our streaming and our cell phone, our phone app to work. We are recording today's show, so that will be up later on today. So, and last Friday's show also, we weren't able to access that, and we can now. So, I will put that up as well. So, we'll have a couple shows up for you that maybe you may have missed. So, let's take a break, Shane. What do you think?
All right, buddy.
What do you think, man? Huh? Yeah.
It's time to go.
Yeah. Well, we got Ethos, but we don't have any performance issues. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll be right back. 22 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock is Thursday, April 4th, 2019. 40 degrees outside. So we're on our way to 53 for a high today. Shane Montalban is on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house. And you're on the KMMS morning soapbox. And we had a caller off the air asking about Jon Corzine, Shane. He was part of the Mueller investigation and went broke and he's got a new book out. I think it's coming out today or has come out recently. And they were trying to get him to plead guilty to a charge, and I don't know, man. They never brought any charges against him or anything, but the guy's life is still ruined. So I don't know where these guys get off doing stuff like this. Roger Stone's another one, and the list goes on and on.
Well, exactly. He's probably one of these people that are in the report that they, because they investigated him, shouldn't be mentioned because they didn't charge him with anything.
Well, that's the thing. Just because, I mean, the Supreme Court doesn't look at cases where there was no charge brought.
That's right.
And I think Congress should do the same thing. If there's no indictment or there's no charge recommended, by anyone, then, those people should be protected from, it's not up to the Congress isn't judge and jury. If they think they find something, they're going to recommend it to Barr, and Barr is probably not going to do anything.
Well, and he's first of all, he's 72 years old. He's an American author, political commentator. Yeah. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's known for his New York Times best-selling book, Unfit for Command, and the Obama Nation, about 9/11 and the cover-up, and about Obama not being an American. So the left has always had a knife out for him, so to speak. And the interesting thing is the Mueller investigation tied him to Roger Stone because of their discussions about WikiLeaks.
Right.
He went public about the investigation he had and the way they treated him, and they threatened him with an indictment because, they were going to accuse him like they have so many others of lying. And he said that, he gave them all the information, all of his emails, all of his computers. They had everything. And, he just said, I'm not going to sign it. You're asking me to sign something that's not a crime.
Yeah.
Anyway, the long story short, you're right. He spent over $250,000 in legal fees. And, and now probably retiring without, a lot to retire on.
Yeah.
And it's just one of these things that is going to boomerang back on the Democrats when this whole thing comes out. Crazygate's going to turn on the Democrats because he's now a victim of this whole Crazygate issue. And the Democrats are going to have to answer for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Call you on the morning soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, Tom, Shane. I just have a small bone to pick with you.
Sure. Go for it.
All right. A little chicken bone.
All right.
A couple of days ago, you had a guest on there that said that 65% of illegal aliens are voting Republican. First off, my first question, it begs a question, why are they voting? And number two is, where did he get that information? Because I don't believe it. I don't believe
Well, that
it
was
one
me.
bit.
Yeah.
That was me, and it was taken from statistics that
Democrats gave you?
no, actually from Republican, but it's come up because of what's going on in states like California and Florida issuing driver's license and allowing people to vote in civil and municipal elections.
Well, because I took logic.
So the argument the Republicans are making is, once they're on the voter list to vote locally, it's difficult then not to prevent them from voting nationally, because the local voter list is what make up the national voting list.
Well, California has a different set of values, I guess, don't they?
Well, they do, yeah, for sure.
Well, I can't wait till we get a California president. Then we'll be able to defecate on the sidewalk right in front of the Ellen Theater.
Right.
There you go.
I've always wanted to do that.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. But anyway, I don't believe the 65% thing. I just can't believe that. I'd like to know where the information came from, and they shouldn't be voting to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They don't even live in our country. And I'll get off the phone, and hopefully somebody else will say something.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for the time,
right.
Tom.
Yeah,
I'll check it up and have it for tomorrow.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah. I just looked up one on the Pew Research, at least in the 2018 election. They had a thing of Latino voters. Let's see. Races nationwide, an estimated 69% of Latinos voted for the Democratic candidate and 29% backed the Republican. 44 white and 54 for a white Republican, 44 black or white voted Democrat, I guess I should say. 90% of blacks voted Democrat, 9% voted Republican, and 77% of Asians voted Democrat, and only 23% voted Republican. Now that could be different in the 2016 election.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. And about a quarter of Hispanic voters cast a ballot in the midterm for the first time in 2018. So let's see. Yeah, Hispanic men, 63 to 34 Democrat. Hispanic women, 73 to 26 Democrat, and 49 to 49 white women, and 39 to 60 white men, 60 voting Republican. 49-49 for women, and black women 92 and 7, and black men 88 and 12. So anyway, that was let's see, that was November 8, 2018. So there may be newer information out there, Shane. So
I'll search it out, and if I need to be corrected because of it, I will certainly do so.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh, I wanted to segue to the Mexican-American War because of what's going on at your border.
Okay, you see what time it is, right?
I know. I'm just giving a tease.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
12 seconds.
Give me a tease.
I gave it to you. Now you're 18 seconds after the minute.
Okay. All right. We got to duck out of here, but Spanish-American War, what could be more exciting than that? Right after this. Shane will make it exciting, trust me.
Of course.
He knows. He's a master debater. Come on. He knows how to do this stuff. So we'll be right back with more stuff right after the news. So stay tuned. 27 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, April 4th, 2019. 40 degrees outside. Shane Montalban on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor in the house. And you're on the KMMS morning soapbox. And, well, we've been talking about Biden. We've been talking about... one man's mind garbage is another man's curiosity and the wish to discover something beyond conventional wisdom. That would be the answer to the someone about coast to coast being the well, whatever. So, well, I know a lot of people complain when Coast to Coast doesn't play. So, I don't know. I think we have a lot of Coast to Coast fans out there. So, and I will admit, I listen to it on the way in because I get here at 5:00 in the morning, and I'm listening to it as I drive in at 4:30 or thereabouts, and sometimes they're they're in UFO heaven, and other times they're talking about things that are of interest. So it's a variety of stuff. So let's take a quick phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, hi there. I just wanted to pose a question to their listeners. But let me start by saying, you know where your father was born?
When my father was born?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question then is to the listeners: at what point does President Trump's demonstration of all the elements of some sort of senility or not playing with a full deck? And I referenced the fact that the other day he claimed that his father was born in Germany when he was born in New York City.
Right.
At what point do listeners, regardless of what you feel about his philosophy and if you share his views politically, at what point do we start to say this guy is not playing with a full deck?
Well, it's hard to say. I would defer that. The president gets a medical, whatever. I don't know about a psychological or mental, tests or whatever. But most of the reports, at least that have come out, and whether you want to believe them or not, have said he's, of sound mind and whatever. So I don't know.
Well,
he does say a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah. Well, not just dumb stuff. I think it's important to distinguish between things that are dumb, that are politically absurd, and all the rest of that. I'm talking about a grasp of the most sort of basic facts that anybody else would know immediately,
right.
and it would be a good test to say, hey, where's your father born? And if you go, I think he's born on Pluto. I mean, you might want to follow up some questions.
If he said Pluto, I think that would be a good indication.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a little extreme, but I mean, it's sort of like saying, what's your middle name? Or
right, yeah.
There's certain things that are just ingrained in you from youth, and you know about your family history.
Yeah.
And it's just it's in such contrast to when Obama said something about how he visited 52 states or whatever. He got the number of states wrong, and I mean there was endless mockery about that, and yet this president says completely absurd things, which if your daughter or son said at the dinner table, the equivalent, you'd just be going, "What are you smoking anyhow? I'm going to your room. We're getting the narc dog in here." So anyhow, I wonder at where is the threshold?
Where do you draw the line, huh?
Tipping point when we just say, no, the guy's not equipped for the job. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Maybe other readers want to.
All right. Thanks for the call. Yeah, we'll let the listeners ponder over that. What do you think, Shane? President says Dad's German, but no, he's New York City.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's one of those things you got to keep a family album to keep up with it, right?
I guess. Well, I don't know. Maybe he heard grandfather. I don't know maybe his grandfather was born here too. I don't know, but maybe he heard grandfather rather than father. I don't know. But Trump's his psyche has been questioned a lot by a lot of people.
That's right.
It's probably natural at that age, that a lot of people are looking for, what's, well, I remember Grandpa wasn't always sure where he was and what was going on. And, some of his facts were, not like I remember them, but, so I don't know. But that isn't always a sign of senility.
Of course it's not.
Yeah,
it's again, it's just a matter of how everybody looks at it. And again, educating the older generation that things change.
Yeah. All right, let's take a phone call. You've still got to get your 1812, don't you?
Well, that's okay. It's not important. We can wait.
Well, okay. We got phones lit up, so let's go with that.
We got another hour.
All right. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
It's Steve O. Venerable Burgermeister. How you doing?
What's up?
Everything, brother.
All right. Hit me with your best shot.
Good morning, my Canadian brother from another mother. How you doing?
I'm holding in there. You know
All
me.
right, man. Good job. Hey, I just got a comment. The guy who just called. Talk about Trump's mental instability. Has the guy ever even perused the Green New Deal? Bung plugging cows to reduce methane gas, stopping our airlines and every mechanized form of travel that runs on any petroleum product. You talk about crazy. Now, we're getting real crazy when we talk about stuff like that, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
It's just ironic, not so much so when you realize they're Dems, but they're so blinded, I think, when somebody misspeaks or says something, they take off on it. But that's an entire proposal that's just filled with wacko garbage, wacko socialist and communistic garbage. I mean, from the first page to the last. So I think it's just, they'll pick on one little thing the guy says, which they always do for Trump, or maybe he misspoke, or, the guy is constantly speaking in front of audiences, and you can make those types of mistakes. And some of your callers seem to not be able to keep their foot out of their mouth. Another caller apologized to Shane today, and then goes right after the apology to say, Tom, you're suicidal. These guys just don't make sense to me. I mean, come on, man. If you're going to apologize, at least refrain from calling the host of the show suicidal. I just... Well. Without Joe, since the polls had Joe Biden as the front-runner candidate, it's so early, who knows, and if he gets knocked out, does that mean Bernie Sanders, since he's second in the polls, is the most likely candidate now with the values he espouses? He's a commie, basically, and, I hope that's not the case. And I had one last observation that I really want you guys' comments on. That is, with this Jesse Smollett thing. You heard the captain of police and Mayor Rahm Emanuel go on TV and say they spent so much money investigating this hoax that they're requesting $150,000, from Jesse to pay the cost, of the investigation. How about we do the same thing, because there's even more preponderance of evidence that the Mueller investigation was a hoax from the start, and I'm still waiting for my paycheck. I'm still checking the mailbox every day, because I think the American people deserve a check. Because I could think of 10 times, 20 times more, preponderance of evidence that was a hoax from the start, and you guys have elaborated on a lot of those issues on your show to prove that was invalid. Even the very, the investigation was started on false allegations, never substantiated, never corroborated. No tangible evidence was ever given for the investigation to begin with. Yeah.
Well, there is something rotten in Chicago. I could smell it.
I was just going to say that, Tom. I heard you say it the other day. You can definitely smell it. The problem is there's something even more rotten, going on in Congress in D.C. That's
true. That's true.
Hey, have a good one, guys.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. All right. Appreciate it. Let's take another quick call. Caller, you are on the air. Thanks for waiting. What's going on?
Oh, you're welcome. I'm going to pick up on the theme that there's something rotten in D.C. and in Congress.
Okay.
And it's not in the Oval Office.
All right.
I think your previous caller needs to really take a look at himself and what kind of news he's listening to and watching, because to suggest that the President of the United States is mentally imbalanced, he's been listening to some really weird stuff on mainstream media. And I take offense. I'm going to call it right back on that guy. If he can believe this, with all the things President Trump has accomplished, not only in his presidency, but in his life. He has done more in his life than most of us, and he is a brilliant man. So to think that he's incompetent is insane.
Okay.
So
there you go.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. From our text line, 478-8298, if Trump's crazy, we should make that a requirement in the Constitution. And it is not, Shane.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't have that in the Constitution. So Let's see. If Biden says President FDR went on TV in 1929, he should never be president. So I don't know. I guess that's true. Trump's crazy and Pelosi is sane, right?
Yeah. Gotta believe that one.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. A man reaches a certain age where he doesn't want any drama. He doesn't want to fight anyone, and forced to, he will. I'm sorry, I have a hard time reading it because it's printed over a picture. He will not fight fair. He will not quit, and there are no weapons he will not use. It is best to leave him alone with his coffee, whiskey, and cigars. Don't poke the old man. They'll hurt you.
Leave him alone.
Leave that old man alone. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hang on. 12 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 4, 2019, 41 degrees outside. Shane and Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagle off your morning mayor. You're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And from our text line, 478-8298, policy instead of politics. How did we get to that discussion?
Yeah, exactly.
And also from our text line, Trump organization employs over 25,000 people. Wow. And between banning petroleum, getting rid of airplanes, wanting cheap labor through illegal immigration to pick crops, it's like the Democrats want to go back to the 1840s. It's like they're going to go back to their roots. Little wonder why their party logo is a jackass.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, if Trump's crazy, we should make that a requirement in the Constitution that that you not be crazy to run for office. And let's see, also from our text line, they used to teach gun safety and even trap clubs when I grew up. Now schools teach kids that guns are evil and dangerous. I wonder if the last caller, obviously a lib, had listened to Nancy Pelosi try to speak. So I don't know. Maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't.
That's true.
Don't know. All right. Well, we got a few minutes left here. A couple more minutes before we got to do the rush update and whatever. So, on the upcoming election, I guess that's going to filter into the news quite a bit here. Although the Democrats are, I still think, shooting themselves in the foot by not going after the 2020 election and harboring this Mueller report and all the information they think they're going to get and calling all these people in and doing all these their own investigation because they're not happy with the one that was done that took 2 years and countless numbers of people and investigations and people went to jail and were fined and arrested and we all know the story. But nothing sticks to Trump, at least not yet. And Nadler is pretty sure he's going to find something in there, so he wants everything. And Barr is prohibited by law from opening up grand jury testimony or witnesses that are protected and things like that. So I guess, we'll find out. They voted, the House voted, I guess, to get the whole unredacted report. So whether or not Barr will comply with that, I don't know. So, all right.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Time for the Rush update. Here's Rush. 4 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Thursday, April 4, 2019. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane and Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tom Eagle off your morning mayor in the house. And from our text line, Shane, 478-8298. If Trump is crazy, how about most of the Democrat hopefuls that signed on to the brilliant piece of insanity known as the Green Raw Deal? So, I like the Green Raw Deal. That's pretty good.
That is indeed, yeah.
Also from our text line, Yammering Nancy. So that's a good one as well. So, Well, we'll see. I don't know. I think it's interesting that everybody signed on to the new Green Deal, the Green Raw Deal, I guess, but nobody will vote for it.
That's right.
So how good can that be? So I don't know.
Well, Mike McCormick we thought might be in yesterday, and I wanted to have a conversation about something that's sort of been under the wire this last week about the Fed, and that is that Trump is thinking about nominating Stephen Moore for the central bank seat that's been left open as a governor on the Fed board.
Mm-hmm.
And it's caused all kinds of consternation in the United States. He's a commentator,
right?
Worked for the Wall Street Journal editorial board, and he worked at the Heritage Foundation. And he's a pretty capable individual as far as his reporting on economics, and he's written a book about Trump economics, he calls it, and it's just one of those interesting appointments that these seats on the 20-seat board of the Fed is sort of important. The individual that is given a seat, is basically the governor of a certain area that of the 20 banks the Fed has across your country.
Right.
And I just find it so interesting that it's one of these things that the media just has ignored, and it makes you wonder why. Of course, he's supported Trump, from the beginning, and he is a conservative, and he does have his own views about the Fed and what it should and shouldn't do. But I've just found it fascinating that it's just like under the radar. No one's even talking about it. So just thought we should mention. I think he's a good guy. I think he'll perform well on the board.
Yeah. Well, the Fed only has two jobs: interest rate control and unemployment. So I think that's why they kind of ignore it. That unemployment is low, across the board, and we don't have any inflation to speak of. So where's the story?
That's right.
And one guy in 20 is not going to probably won't disrupt that, even if he's, off the, if he's Alex Jones conservative.
Well, that's true. Very good. Yeah.
So,
but one of the features of that board meeting, of course, as you point out, is interest rates, and the major policy with regards to that is maintaining the U.S. dollars, the sovereign currency of the world. So,
right, yeah,
it's just an important job, and
it is. It's very important.
We have talked about it.
No, it's very important, and kudos for bringing it up because, the Fed, whether you like it or not, and a lot of people don't like it, would like to see it changed or gone or whatever, but nevertheless, we're stuck with it for now. So,
that's right.
Let's try to get the best people on it we can. So,
and follow the money.
Amen to that. So, all right, that wraps it up for us today, Shane. Tell everybody how much you love them, and you'll see them tomorrow.
Well, I love you, Mayor. You're the best, Righteous Eagle Man. And to everybody and all of our listeners, be happy, be safe, but still tomorrow.
Right. All right. Thanks, Shane. All right. Coming tomorrow at 8 o'clock, Attorney General Tim Fox will join us by phone. We'll talk about these robocalls that everybody's getting, and there's some other things that are going on with the Attorney General, so we'll try to cover it as much as we can with the limited time that we'll have with him, so I encourage you to tune in. Also, we're recording today's show. That should be up a little later on, so we're happy to have that facility back after almost a week. So we'll see everybody tomorrow, 6 a.m.